Imagine being steps ahead of everyone else in any situation, whether in your career, relationships, or even a high-stakes negotiation. This isn't just wishful thinking. It's the strategy of Musashi, the legendary samurai who mastered the art of psychological dominance to stay one move ahead. Today, I'm revealing some of his most powerful techniques in dark psychology, the kind that can make the difference between winning and losing. But remember, this isn't for everyone. Misuse these methods and you risk backfire. Part 1. The Reverse Expectation Tactic. Musashi stands across from a fierce opponent, a warrior known for his strict discipline and focus. Musashi knows that this man is intensely prepared for every possibility, expecting an intense, immediate clash. But Musashi, always strategic, decides to do the unexpected. Instead of taking his place with urgency or focus, he arrives late, strolling leisurely, barely acknowledging the upcoming battle. He gazes off at the horizon, seeming almost detached from the duel. There's no intensity in his stance, no anticipation in his eyes, just a calm, unhurried presence that doesn't fit the scenario. This is the reverse expectation tactic. By acting contrary to what his opponent anticipates, Musashi throws the opponent off his game. The opponent, who came prepared for immediate tension and focus, now feels something strange, confusion. The calm, almost indifferent energy that Musashi projects makes the opponent begin to question his own preparation. Is he overthinking this? Is he reading Musashi wrong? Musashi's unexpected calm shifts the mental energy, leaving his opponent uncertain about his own approach and possibly doubting his own readiness. In high-stakes situations, doing the opposite of what's expected can create an advantage. By staying calm when others anticipate urgency, you unsettle those around you, causing them to second-guess their own actions. This works well in negotiations, meetings, or any scenario where confidence is assumed. When you act in a way that contrasts with others' expectations, you disrupt their mental equilibrium, giving you an upper hand in guiding the situation's tone and direction. With his opponent off balance, Musashi doesn't rush his next move. Instead, he observes carefully, looking for subtle signs of weakness and insecurity, preparing to turn these into opportunities. Part 2. The Insecurity Mirror. As Musashi's opponent assumes his stance, he radiates focus. But Musashi can see through the cracks. There's a momentary falter in his posture, a flicker of doubt in his eyes. Musashi seizes this opening, not with an attack, but with subtle psychological warfare. Instead of rushing forward or pressing the advantage, he slows down, deliberately moving at an almost relaxed pace. He lets his sword rest lightly in his grip, adding pauses and small delays that aren't aggressive but are, in their own way, unnerving. With each moment of silence, Musashi can see his opponent's confidence wane, the flickers of doubt growing stronger. The opponent's initial readiness transforms into uncertainty as Musashi's composed demeanor reflects back his opponent's own insecurity. In this quiet, intense buildup, Musashi wields silence like a weapon, making his opponent confront the insecurity he's buried under layers of readiness. This is the insecurity mirror tactic. Musashi's tactic isn't about making direct attacks or intimidating his opponent. It's about heightening the insecurities that already exist. By mirroring the opponent's doubt back at him through silence and an intentionally slow pace, Musashi allows his opponent's own fears to rise to the surface. The silence speaks louder than words, and the opponent's mind fills the void with every anxious thought he's been trying to suppress. Musashi essentially turns the opponent's own mind against him, letting him unravel his confidence. In real-world situations, this tactic works in conversations or negotiations where the other person has hidden insecurities. By showing calm, subtle confidence without challenging them directly, you can amplify the contrast between your steadiness and their doubt. This makes them more aware of their own insecurities, which may lead them to make concessions or defer to your viewpoint. If someone feels inadequate or uncertain, simply emphasizing your own composure can magnify their insecurities without saying a word. Musashi has cast doubt in his opponent's mind, but he doesn't stop there. Now he takes it a step further, strategically planting seeds of doubt to make his opponent second-guess every move. Part 3. Planting Seeds of Doubt. As Musashi engages with his opponent, he doesn't need flashy moves or grand gestures to maintain control. Instead, he leans in just slightly, and with a calm and almost casual tone, makes small comments that slip past his opponent's defenses. He remarks, "Your stance, it looks a bit tense," or "That grip might feel uncomfortable over time." These aren't criticisms. They're spoken as though he's offering neutral observations, but they're calculated to stick. Musashi watches as his words settle into his opponent's mind, casting a shadow over his confidence. The opponent's focus begins to shift from his battle strategy to his own posture and movements. He's no longer thinking about the fight. He's worried about the rigidity Musashi pointed out, wondering if he's truly ready for this duel. Musashi has planted a seed of doubt, and the opponent's mind waters it with every second, growing his uncertainty. This tactic is called suggestive priming. Musashi's subtle, offhand comments introduce an element of doubt, making his opponent hyper-aware of himself. In psychology, suggestive priming is a method of influencing someone's thoughts or behaviors through indirect suggestions. Studies show that small remarks, even when spoken without emphasis, can alter how people perceive themselves. Musashi's words echo in his opponent's mind, making him increasingly self-conscious and vulnerable. In conversations, negotiations, or competitive situations, suggesting slight flaws can make others question their decisions or approach. If you're in a discussion and notice someone's pride in their position, casually pointing out a minor weakness can lead them to question their stance. By introducing subtle comments, "I wonder if that approach might seem too aggressive to some," or "that detail might need extra attention," you plant seeds that make the other person second-guess themselves. This isn't about criticism. It's about subtly steering them into uncertainty. Musashi has filled his opponent's mind with doubt, but he knows there's one more way to intensify the psychological pressure. Now he takes control of the silence, letting the tension rise as his opponent struggles with his own thoughts. Part 4. The Power of Silence. In the midst of their duel, Musashi does something unexpected that shifts the entire energy of the battle. He stops. Standing perfectly still, he falls into complete silence, neither advancing nor retreating. The air between them becomes charged as his opponent's anticipation reaches its breaking point. The opponent, once composed and ready, starts shifting his weight, casting glances in every direction, waiting for Musashi's next move. Musashi simply stands there, maintaining intense eye contact, exuding calmness that only deepens the discomfort in his opponent. Musashi knows that this silence does more damage than any quick strike. It forces his opponent to confront his own anxieties. And in this charged stillness, his opponent's mind begins to unravel. He starts second-guessing, wondering if Musashi is preparing a hidden attack or anticipating his every move. The tension builds, so heavy that his opponent finally makes a hasty move just to end the silence. This is the power of silence as a tool for psychological dominance. Studies in social psychology reveal that silence often creates discomfort, especially in high-stakes or confrontational scenarios. People instinctively seek to fill silences, often with impulsive actions or words. By withholding speech and motion, Musashi forces his opponent's mind to spiral, weakening his opponent's control and pushing him to act without thinking clearly. This technique shifts power dynamics, putting Musashi firmly in control by doing nothing more than waiting. Silence can be incredibly powerful, especially in negotiations, discussions, or confrontations. When someone expects an immediate response, holding back can build psychological tension, giving you control. A well-timed pause can make others reveal more or make concessions just to break the silence. Musashi's mastery of silence creates authority and compels others to react first, allowing you to observe and respond strategically. With his opponent shaken, Musashi knows the final touch is to project an air of quiet authority, leveraging his reputation to control the outcome before the fight even ends. Part 5. Shaping Perception. By the time he stepped onto the field, his reputation was already a powerful weapon. He carried himself with a calm, unshakable presence, radiating an aura that left his opponents feeling smaller, doubting their own abilities. His stance was steady, his gaze unwavering and his movements deliberate. He wasn't just a skilled swordsman, he was a legend, and he projected that image so strongly that his opponents sensed it from the moment they laid eyes on him. Musashi's demeanor wasn't only for show, it was a calculated tactic. By holding himself with such authority, he leveraged the psychological power of perception. His opponents often felt they had lost before the fight had even begun, burdened by their own assumptions about Musashi's mastery. The aura he cultivated became a form of psychological armor, one that made his opponents second-guess every move, weighed down by the belief that they faced someone unbeatable. This is the power of perceived authority. Studies in social psychology show that people are heavily influenced by those they perceive as confident and authoritative. Musashi's calculated composure tapped into this, forcing his opponents to overestimate his skills and underestimate their own. The psychological barrier created by his presence made his opponents defer to him mentally, giving Musashi the advantage before they even exchanged blows. Your presence can shape how others perceive you before you even speak. In high-stakes situations, use body language, unwavering eye contact, and steady composure to project authority. This doesn't require boasting or intimidation. Your aura alone can establish respect and create psychological influence. Like Musashi, understand that how you carry yourself can set the tone, making others think twice before they even challenge you. Musashi's mastery wasn't in brute force alone. It was his calculated psychological control that made him an unbeatable force. These techniques are not just relics of the past. They're tools that you can start using today to influence situations and steer them in your favor. If you're ready to start gaining your own edge, try out one of these tactics in your next interaction. Observe the shift and feel the difference. And if this video sparked some new ideas, hit subscribe and join us for more content on psychology, strategy, and becoming the strongest version of yourself.